Hey, is that working?
Yeah, we're on.
Right, so we're going to make a short video about how to become a good intuitive eater. Now, I feel like this is really, really important because you don't really want to be weighing your food for the rest of your life, being on MyFitnessPal and all that sort of shit. So we're going to go through the methods that will make you arrive at this. But first of all, I wanted to make it obvious that we're not trying to give any advice about how to eat or what diet to follow. This is more about how we eat, or how I choose to eat, or have arrived
Attitudes
towards food. Yeah, how over sort of the last 20 odd years personally I've arrived trying all methods, but this is going to be the most simple method for me. I know Helen does very similar, probably does it better than me, to be honest. Allows herself more flexibility in her diet but still stays lean. So to make it perfectly to make it obvious, I don't want you to take this gospel, but if any of it helps, then that would be great.
Suits you.
Yeah, take bits of the information from it that will work. So when it comes to what intuitive eating actually is, what's intuitive eating?
Not having any like labels on food or specific, like seeing things as a diet, seeing food as food rather than that's unhealthy, that's healthy, like more of a neutral approach.
Yeah, I'd agree. I mean, me personally, I've had I do see foods as like shit and ones that are really good for me. That's just the way I like to approach it, and that's me. That's absolutely fine. But for Helena, she'll say it's not bad, it's not good. That's fine as well. So it's just the way we approach it slightly different. And for me, one of the most important things when it comes to intuitive eating is that it's not being greedy. It's not eating when you're emotional. It's not eating when you're sad, it's not eating when you're miserable, it's eating when you're hungry.
Yeah, it's being able to recognise that you're actually hungry,
yeah.
And that it's not like you say, it's not a cuddle that you need, or it's not a conversation, it's like you're eating because you're hungry.
Yeah.
Or not bored,
yeah.
Not like...
Yeah, and arriving at a point where you know your body, so you know that the energy that you're eating can support what you need. I mean, a lot of people in the world eat too much, so they get fat or they get overweight, and if that's the case, that's not good. But also a lot of people go on the other scale where they don't eat enough, and that's just as bad. So if you don't have enough energy to provide your body with the potential to do, then in life you're going to generally be bad at things. So whether it be exercise, when you're at work, you're tired, when you're moody with your friends or your partners and stuff like that, I think knowing where the balance is for yourself is the key. And if you can be in a balance for a long period of time, what happens is your body will regulate itself out at the right weight, and if you're at the right weight, you generally have enough energy. If you're staying at a weight, it probably means that you're eating the right amount of food. So I would say that's how we would look at what we want intuitive eating to be like. So it's not a diet, it's not weighing food for the rest of your life. So yeah, we'll go from there. Anything to add to that? So we'll start with one thing that is absolutely essential, and that is that calories is the king. Calories are king in everything. Energy in versus energy out. Don't let anyone fool you, I mean, into thinking that you can eat 10,000 calories and burn 4,000 and stay absolutely fine. That's a load of bollocks. I mean, it might appear that you can eat a lot of food and not put any weight on, but what it will be is you'll either have a decent metabolism or you'll have a really good lifestyle that basically means that you can manage more energy, so your expenditure is very good. So the basis of any improvement in your nutrition will come from your calories, but I prefer not to think about calories too much personally. I prefer to think about food quality, balance of types of food, and over the years I've learned to sort of eyeball the food that I have. So I can look at, when I used to eat meat, I can look at, say, chicken and realise that maybe that chicken breast there has got sort of 170 to 200 calories in it and 25 grams of protein or whatever, and I just know. And then when I add my fruit and veg or whatever it is to my meal, I can see that there's 500-600 calories in there, and if I roughly need, say, 2,500 calories a day, then I can see what I've got on my plate is right. So that's where we want to help people arrive at.
It's not like having to weigh every single meal. It's like maybe for the meals that you know that you eat a lot, or the food that you eat a lot of, it's like being able to know that that's got so many calories. And like you say, your regular meal might have 500 or 600, but if you've never weighed that before, you might be eating a meal that's got 800 calories in it and you didn't even know, and then you're like, oh, why can't I lose weight?
Yeah.
Like, but if you do it once and you roughly eat the same portion sizes from day to day, like even if it's not bang on, it won't matter as long as it's like consistent.
You get that energy balance over a period of time. But like Helena just said, one thing to touch on would be is that you do need to understand how much energy potential is in food. So when I say potential, it is how much energy we can take from the food that we eat. So if you're eating too much, essentially you'll get fat. If you're not eating enough, you will probably get too thin. Now that sounds really, really basic, but a lot of people can't grasp that concept. And what they generally do with a calorie model, they will just drive the calories down and down and down. So say someone says to you, oh, you're going to have 1,500 calories and you're not losing weight, then you're going to have 14, 13, 12. Where do you draw the line at where you're simply it's not enough? Yeah, and it's not enough to actually to live. We don't want anyone to arrive at that point where you're not eating enough to provide yourself with energy to get by. So another thing when it comes to calories, you will find that you will have, you may have gone to say a PT, a coach or a nutritionist or something like that, and they're going to pluck some bullshit information out of the air, and they're going to be like, they're going to type it into a computer or MyFitnessPal or something like that, and they're going to say, right, you need 1,750 calories today and for the rest of your life to drop some weight, which sounds about right. And they've just pulled these imaginary figures out, and unless you're actually hooked up to a machine all day that can give your energy expenditure in versus out, then they are just made up figures. So we don't want to be relying too much on these figures, because we don't also know how much energy we use throughout the day. So they are taken for granted. If they told you 1,750, they are taking it as a gimme that you burn that every day. Now if you think a little bit harder, you burn more calories. If you have to run for the bus instead of walk, you're going to burn more calories. If you miss a meal, you will burn less calories just because of thermogenic effect. There's absolutely millions and millions of elements that go along that affect it. For someone just to say it's 1,750 ballpark figure, what it is, they're giving you some structure, they're giving you a model to stick to. And I'm down with that completely, but as long as you know that it's not gospel, it could be slightly wrong. What will happen is, if your 1,750 isn't working, they'll probably tell you to go out and do 10,000 steps. So what they're doing essentially is admitting that their calorie model that they had isn't right, because they're trying to burn it from another side, which is absolutely fine. Like I say, you need to know that it's not gospel. There's so much more to it. So for me, my method has always been for people is to drive energy up. Luke always taught me from Muscle Nerds that basically in the first hand you want to get some results. So maybe you will drive calories down a little bit, a tiny bit, but over the course of the diet, if it's not working, you want to drive energy up. So what we'll do generally is get them to work more, get them to move more, get them to do some aerobic exercise, get them to go to the gym more, up their neat. So do more walking, do more, I don't know, it could be biking, it could be absolutely anything. But instead of going down, so we're going from 1,750 to 1,550 to 1,350, let's create our energy deficit by moving more. Yeah, so by doing 3 hours or 4 hours of aerobic work a week, and then eating more food and still creating a big energy deficit. So if I can create 600 calories a day energy deficit from exercise, and then only eat 300, I could be on, from that 1,750, I could be on 2,150 and still have a 300 calorie more deficit, but be more satisfied from my food because it allows me to eat more, but therefore creating a bigger energy deficit. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
Are we happy with this? What are we moving on to? Next.
What's next?
Next on the agenda.
I can't remember what's on the list.
I got the list, guys, don't worry. That's one thing that's important. That I personally have eaten every single way under the sun. So if you show this video to someone and they go, oh, that guy's just an intuitive eater, and now I've arrived after 20 years odd in the gym, I turned out to be a vegetarian, sometimes not far from being vegan, and so is Helena now. Obviously she's fucking 35 years younger than me. But I've spent all my life, I've done 400 grams of protein a day, I've done 500 grams of carbohydrates a day, I've done no carbohydrates for a year, I've done high carbohydrates forever, I've done high fats, I've done an intermittent fasting, not on purpose sometimes, just because I don't. I've not eaten for days on end in times and just drunk water because people told me it's a good idea. So whatever it is that you arrive at, whatever it is people tell you, what we're saying might not be true, I've tried a lot of methods, and I believe that this one is the one that works. And when I hand this one out to my clients, this is the one that they generally will stick to a lot better. The one that they find easy to learn from, easy to control, and more fun because it gives them a little bit of flexibility in their diet. And I wouldn't want to call dieting flexible, but if you know that that you can have a little bit of whatever you want, it is a lot better. Like I say, my personal preference isn't to have a little bit much of what I want, unless people bake me cakes, and it comes a little bit awkward.
Banana bread.
Banana bread, it does become a little bit awkward. Maybe a Helena, she likes to have a little bit more of what she wants, but then she'll also sit on an air bike for a fucking hour and earn it, and that's the way it is.
But that's come from doing all these things myself as well.
Yeah.
And like weeks where I've not been, so like when I first started with you, it was 1400 calories a day till I found out, like figured out what I was doing with food.
Yep.
And then I was like, actually I'm really hungry, let's eat some more.
Yep.
And then we pushed that back up, and now I don't know how much, 2,000 easily a day, and could eat more.
You keep talking.
I
like it. Carry on.
But like that's all started from this place, so
We've ramped the energy up, not down.
yeah.
Yeah, and her muscles grow, and anyone that's seen Helena's pictures will see that eating more has arrived her in a place where she's actually smaller, which is fucking
Bizarre.
surreal for people. If I told her that, well, I told her this 18 months ago when we first met, that by eating more you're going to be able to get smaller, leaner, stronger, and look better. You know, you're going to have a tighter waist and a better ass and all that lot. Pretty much laughed and cried at me, which is actual summary of what happened.
Yeah.
And now we arrive at the point where she is like this, and anyone that you speak to who works with me, this is how we go. We drive energy up. I can have people on 5,000 calories a day. Like personally myself, I can go anywhere between sort of 3,500 to 4,500, and some of my friends are similar size as me. They can eat just as much as long as they're putting the energy out as well.
That has also come from like knowing your body, like you've said, gone through it all, like knowing your food, knowing what you need when you need, what's going to benefit you. Like I know that I could eat, like if I like chose to go home and eat all my Easter eggs, I know that I could do that and not get fat.
Exactly.
But it wouldn't make me feel great.
Have a nervous breakdown.
Yeah, have a nervous breakdown. It wouldn't make me feel great, but I know that I could do it. But I know that if I ate something that was like healthier, like more fruits and veg, something with protein in it, it would make me feel better and avoid
disappointments.
Yeah.
Angst. Hang-ups.
Yeah.
I mean, I can flatten a full cake and I don't cry about it. Now, people who know me think I probably don't eat anything that bad, but if she bakes a banana bread, and between me
lemon
and
drizzle,
anything, yeah, I will eat the whole thing, but I will not be upset. Right? It doesn't happen very often, but some people have an emotional attachment to food that ruins them. So you have to find out, if someone's saying to you that, oh, you know, it's all right to drink beers, it's all right to eat cakes, it's all right to do this, it's only all right if you are emotionally stable to have it. Now, if you're the sort of person that, if you have a load of beer and stuff like that, you wake up the next day, or you have cakes and chocolate, and you wake up the next day and you're pretty much depressed
and feel guilty
and
about
feel
it.
guilty. That type of nutrition isn't for you. So for something simple to say a little bit of everything's okay in moderation, that is one way of thinking, and it's absolutely true. But it's only true if psychologically you can handle that. If psychologically you can't handle that,
yeah, it's about mindset and like how you view food. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, if psychologically that when you've had chocolate you feel like you're going to commit suicide, then that chocolate ain't for you. You need to go work on the mind, and in the meantime you create restrictions, and restrictions are absolutely fine. And some people say, oh, you shouldn't be restricted from any food, and that's fine. But if you're the sort of person that has 20 grams of Galaxy and turns into 200 grams of Galaxy in 10 minutes, then of course creating restrictions is going to help you, because ultimately feeling good and losing weight and looking at yourself in the mirror and waking up and feeling energetic is going to feel miles better than ever that 200 grams of Galaxy ever felt. So it's all about knowing what triggers you and what makes you feel okay. Me, if I had a load of shit over a period of time and I didn't get the opportunity to wake up every day feeling great and feeling energetic, I'd be truly disappointed with myself, and I never want to be disappointed with myself, because I love that I feel healthy. And I know that Helena now feels pretty healthy all the time, and that's the way we want to be. We've got a dog.
Doggy.
So enough of that anyway. What's next? Method. So this is where it comes into play. What's our method?
Our method for eating.
A method. I'll start with one. I'd say the first thing we do, like I said at the beginning, is learn energy. So we learn about what energy is in our food. How would we do this? What's a good method of doing this?
So even just for like a day or a week, you eat, like you don't change anything, just track what you eat in MyFitnessPal and just get a good idea of what it is you're actually having, I guess.
100%, yeah.
And things in there that you'd have would probably surprise you, like the amount of sauces, or like if you say have a handful of nuts, it could be 3 times the amount of calories that you actually think you're having. So it's just good to get an awareness of what's in it.
Yeah, 100%. So if you're going to use like MyFitnessPal, another thing that Luke, and I'll harp on about Luke, he's a fucking legend, is they write down the 10 foods that you eat the most of, and you get to 7 and you're like, oh shit, I don't even eat that many foods. So it's actually not very hard to understand the amount of energy in the foods that you eat. So if you're if you eat meat, we don't eat meat, that's fine, but if you eat meat and you're eating chicken and beef, it's pretty easy to learn how many calories are in 200 grams of chicken or 200 grams of beef. Now, it's also very easy to learn how big 200 grams of beef and chicken looks. So you don't need to be weighing that every day of your life. To weigh it once and you'll know, you're not have to be stupid. So then you've got that nailed off. And then if you're eating like the same veg and fruit daily, and which people do, we're creatures of habit, people generally have the same breakfasts, they get up, they have the favourite, there's nothing up with having the same stuff. You will know what it looks like. And now, if you can't do that over the course of 2 weeks and just learn, then basically what you're doing, you're being ignorant to knowledge. So if someone hands you the knowledge to lose weight and to create a good energy balance, but you then choose not to have it, basically you're choosing not to be as healthy as you could be. So for me, I make the conscious choice because I have the knowledge to use the knowledge. Now, if you are happy to not use that knowledge, you have to be aware then that when you're disappointed, but with knowledge, which is worse disappointment than ever. Now, I have no doubt in the world that people try hard, and they try hard all the time. But if they try hard and they don't actually know what they're trying at, that's fine, and they're failing because they're limited knowledge. But if you're failing and you know what to do, then you will be absolutely, truly disappointed by it. You really will be. So first step would be to get MyFitnessPal or anything, or even look on the packets. If you're eating packet foods, then go with that.
Getting a guide.
Getting a guide to what it is you do. Write down the 10 foods, check out them foods, what they're in them, and then jobs are good in. Now, a lot of people also order foods, they even tell you how many calories in it. Yeah. Now, this is fine, but we went back to the beginning, we don't know how much energy to eat. So this is the next way, this is the next thing that we have to address. So you bang it into something like MyFitnessPal, or go and get your BMR worked out, or whatever it is. And then say it says 2,000 calories, and give yourself 2 weeks on then 2,000 calories. Now, if your weight doesn't budge, yeah, it's simple. You're eating just the same. You're eating the right amount. Now, if your weight starts going up, you're eating too much. If your weight starts going down, you've nailed it. Yeah. So you just keep going, and it's that simple. So say you're on your 2,000 calories roughly, and nothing's happened after 2 weeks. Just drop it down by 150, or go and do a little bit more exercise. Again, it's very, very simple. And then have another 2 weeks, and I haven't got 2 weeks, it's in a lifetime. Now, you will find that you've taken 25 years to get out of shape, or 10 years to get out of shape, but you haven't got 4 weeks to start to understand your body. Then really it's your own fault. You haven't, you don't deserve to be being healthy, you don't deserve to be in good shape. So I would say, really get to grips with how much it is that you need. So like I say, if that 2,000 isn't happening, just go for a walk every day and burn off 200 more calories, or drop out 200 more calories of your food, and that's the way to do it. And if the needle starts moving down, brilliant, yeah, and that's what you want to do. But what we don't want to do is get the calories down that low that you don't have any energy, yeah. So the preferred method would be to let it happen over a little bit of a period of time. Obviously, if I don't eat Monday to Friday, by fucking Friday I'm going to weigh 5 or 6 pounds less, yeah. But that's probably just the food that's inside my body. There won't be as much of it. So it's not that difficult. That's the way we would approach it. Yeah, good. Next topic. Should have these written down, shouldn't we?
Yeah.
What does our food look like? I can leave this one to you. You're better than this.
What does our food look like?
Our food looks fucking 10 times better than me.
It's pretty much the same every day. So I've just done a food diary for someone at uni, and I had tracked 4 days. Well, I didn't track it, I just wrote down everything I ate for 4 days. And the amount of times I wrote Alpro was ridiculous.
Yeah.
But you do eat, like, everyone has habits, and it's just getting into one that you like, but at the same time you know is going to be good for you. So I know that, like, twice a day I need a plate of, like, peppers, cucumber, tomatoes, broccoli, hummus with a protein sauce. And I know that if I don't have that, then I'm not going to feel as good when we're training, or like, I'm probably going to reach for something that is a bit more shit. Always have, like, fruit and yogurt, because I find that like, I really enjoy eating that. That's like my, like, sweet food, so I'd go for that. with a lot of peanut butter.
Yeah. Fills up the calories.
But yeah, nothing really changes with the main meals. Just a lot of veg, a lot of fruit, a lot of like beans, chickpeas.
All of it. Yeah, so on that, what Helena's saying there, basically, she's doing that how she feels. She's hit the nail on the head saying that she needs the peppers, the cucumbers, the tomatoes. Now, one of the reasons why they dictate your gut culture so much, and that has so much to do with your stomach to your brain connection. So it makes her feel good. The food that she's eating makes her feel good. Now, if she was to flatten a load of shite instead, she's not going to feel good. So her associations, her intuition is that when she eats that good food, she actually feels better. And that's what we're trying to get. That's where we're trying to arrive at this point where when we eat this higher quality, higher nutrition value food, that's where the magic starts to happen.
You can actually feel the difference when, like...
100%. We had a debate the other day, I like a debate. I like a debate with everybody, if anyone knows me, about an experiment. You tell them the experiment.
So I did this at uni, and we had someone that was eating 20 bread rolls every day and took the multivitamins. So on paper, basically, they were not deficient in any nutrient. They had like 30% protein, 50% carb, 20% fat. Like, it was fine. And you can't really say that person's unhealthy because they're hitting all of the macros and the micros, but at the same time, you know that that's not healthy. You know that you shouldn't be doing it, but the reasoning for it, like, you wouldn't be able to say, I guess.
Yeah, on paper,
it was fine.
The guy looks like his biomarkers might be okay. He might be like decently healthy. He's happy on his bread. He's taking 200 quid worth of fucking supplements a month probably, but that's fine.
He's not putting on weight. He's not losing weight.
Yeah, but now the problem with something like that is who can actually do that. We eat emotionally. A lot of us do, and we like our food. A lot of people like food. There's a lot of food that I wouldn't want to do without. Someone told me that I'm gonna eat fucking bread rolls for the next 20 years.
Fuming.
I'll be absolutely fuming. Yeah, I'm just gonna, I'm gonna supplement it with a high dose of multivitamin, which I do already anyway without my bread rolls. Now, that ain't going to work for me, and it works for him in isolation, and it probably would work for anyone in isolation, but only if you could actually stick to it. As soon as you don't stick to it, it's game over. And the point of it is that for me, the quality of your food really dictates to how much you adhere to it. So I can adhere to it because when I eat quality food, I feel good. So if I feel good, I can do more. My energy's high, and people who know me, I can go to work all the time, I can exercise all the time, I generally stay very lean all the time, or I'm quite strong. I'm not great at anything, but I'm generally okay at stuff. And this makes me feel good, and I can attribute this to the food that I eat, the diet that I have, the sleep that I have of decent quality. And so if I was to tell people how I would eat, I would always start with micronutrients. This is me, and like I said, this isn't for anyone's advice or anything like that. I don't start with a macro split. I think about how much of the minerals and vitamins I can get out of the food possible. So I always start with veg. I start with the thin-skinned fruits, stuff like the berries and stuff like peppers and tomatoes and cucumbers. I eat in abundance, and then after that, people will be like, right, now we had the protein. I'm like, now do we fuck? I start adding the greens, yeah. So now I start adding more greens, and then I think to myself, right, I'm going to start adding protein. No, hang on, I'm not adding protein. When I was younger, protein would have been king straight away, but now I start adding things like beans and lentils and things of that nature. Now, it's the protein bit's easy, because all I have to do is add 30 grams of protein to each meal. That is absolutely simple. But most people can add 30 grams of protein to the meal straight up, but what they don't do is add the other stuff that I started out with. Hi, buddy. So what they get the macronutrient split probably quite right. They might have them bread rolls, that's absolutely fine, and they might have chicken or whatever it is, not chicken for us obviously because we're vegetarian, but and then they might have the fats that are found in the peanut butter, or maybe in avocados, or in the fish or whatever it is. But I find it so easy to put protein on a plate, and so does everyone, but they forget to put all the good stuff on, the stuff that actually makes your hair good, your skin good, and all the things that people want to be. The trouble is people are so hung up on thinking that to build muscle, what they actually need to do, or to get lean, is to get a macronutrient split. What you actually need to do is be fit and healthy enough to be able to adhere to it on a long-term basis. You need to be healthy every day, otherwise you go off course. And people say, oh, it's not realistic to be healthy every day. It's not realistic to be healthy every day if you live an unhealthy lifestyle every day. But if you live a healthy lifestyle every day, expect to be healthy every day. Now, if you're healthy every day, what you will get is personal consistency. You'll be able to adhere to what you want to do, and then it becomes so simple because you wake up every day feeling great. And like I say, the thing for me is that by starting out with kind of the micronutrients, the things that we are biochemically made up of, is absolutely essential. And then adding a portion of protein should be so simple. You've already added the carbohydrates, the fats, and all that lot just in the other stuff that I said. And it's so simple. And if you're of the opinion that none of that matters and it's all macros, that's absolutely fine. And you may never get you may live a decent lifestyle, but you will never know how good you could potentially be if you actually come in it from this point of view. And I hope that makes sense to you. Performance.
Do you want to hold it?
It's getting heavy.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, it is heavy. So, now there's a big difference between eating for diet to lose weight. So now I'm going to use Helen as a good example because obviously I've worked with Helen over the time. Let's just bend us back a little bit. So, say Helena says to me about I want to be lean. Yeah, and she said this to me 16 months ago maybe. Now we've arrived at lean. Lean's fine. Now, Helena being a young female, and this isn't being sexist, and she can talk on this in a minute better than I can because she knows how she thinks. I start telling her that we want to eat 2,500 calories a day, she starts shitting herself, right? So you tell them about that. It's true, isn't it?
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, so like now we've got her down, we've eaten enough food, her food habits are very good, so like she eats really nice food and you know, proud to post them on Instagram type meals. Protein's high, carbohydrates are high. You know, she's eating all the fruit, all the veg, she's absolutely smashing it, but she's only eating 1,800 calories. Now, she's burning off 10 million because she loves the air bike, she loves to weightlift and all this lot, but she expects that she wants to get in good shape. So the thing is, she's not going to build any muscle on them 1,800, 1,600 calorie diet because she's burning off 3,000, or potentially that's what it's saying. Obviously she's not, because she hasn't got that to burn off. So what she's essentially going to do, she was keep herself in a negative calorie balance all the time. You can't expect to grow good muscle or have high energy or get strong if you're then flattening all the energy you have by not eating enough. So how does that feel, eating more food?
It's hard to get used to. Like, I have a few paddies and you've seen them all.
Yeah.
But like, it is helping because even just like being on this lockdown and having been at home more has helped eat a lot more food.
Yeah.
And then my training has improved so much, like PB squat, dips, pull-ups, like everything. I feel like I've got more energy. I've done a PB 5k, like, and if you've told me like before all of like the lockdown thing happened that I'd been eating an extra meal a day, because that's essentially what I have, like, I'd have had a fit.
Or be scared.
Yeah.
You think you get fat.
Yeah.
And this is a lot of people's problem. This isn't a girl problem either. I'm just using Helen obviously because she's a girl here now. My attitude is I'll just fucking eat as much as I can, and until if I got fat, I'd be eating too much. So I just keep eating, and I just keep eating and eating. I keep training.
But it's got to go up slowly.
It's got to go up slowly, yeah. So what we'd do, she's right actually, yeah, that was a bit ignorant. So we add maybe 200 calories and she's on 2,000 calories at the minute, but still give her grief that she's not eating enough because she's still super slim and super lean and getting leaner. She is getting stronger, but she'll have a reserve probably of about another 800 calories, I'm guessing. Now, does she want to eat another 800 calories? Probably not. And will there be a day when we actually get her to eat that many? Probably not. But can we get her to eat, maybe, you know, unless it's made up of Easter eggs and stuff like that. But what I'm saying is,
exposed.
Like, yeah, you'll look, and I have people come to me all the time and I'll be like, how much do you weigh? And they're like, well, I'm happy with my weight, it's just the way I look. And what you're doing about it? And like, well, I'm on 1,200 calories. And I'm like, well, you've just told me you're happy with your weight, but yet you're just sucking calories out, and you're actually telling me that you want to change your physique. And the only way of changing your physique is by adding more potential. And the only way of adding more potential is by adding more energy. And by adding more energy, that gives you the potential to exercise more and to rest more and to sleep better. So the more you actually eat, the more you can recover. The more you can recover, the more you can go again the next day. The more your muscles will, the more you can do. And this is an important lesson for people. If you're on a low calorie diet, but you weigh a weight that you're actually quite happy with, you need to start upping your calories slowly, and then watch your body adapt and watch your body change shape. It's not about driving energy down, it's about driving energy up. It's about increasing the ability to do. So the ability to train, the ability to work, the ability to have good relationships with people. If you are fucking down regulating your energy, when you come into contact with people, you're just going to be miserable, and you're sort of angsty, and you're not a good person to be around, and that is not a good human. A good human has good energy, and if you have good energy, you generally make better interactions with people, which is completely off the tangent of nutrition, but it's absolutely
impacted.
It's impacted, yeah. Your social side of it is very important. I see many people, and they come into the gym and they've leaned out nice, and I'll be like, what you eating? And be like, yeah, I've had 30 grams of rice, some chicken and a bit of broccoli 5 times today. I'll be like, fuck that.
Miserable.
Miserable as fuck, yeah. And then I'm there and I had more than that before I got out of bed, yeah. And I'm fine and not far behind them, yeah. So I prefer this method 100%. What else have we got in here? Hey. Enjoying making your food. This is one for you, because I'm shit.
Oh yeah. So when you think of food, you think of, say, breakfast, lunch, dinner and a couple of snacks. If you change your attitude towards what you're actually doing, like, and make it more of mealtime, more than just food, like you could make it, like, you could spend the whole afternoon making tea, something that you've never had before, or perhaps buying, instead of getting something from the shop, you make it from scratch. Like, you appreciate it a little bit more, like you tend to notice like the flavors a little bit more, you're probably going to enjoy it more than you usually would. It's just like paying more attention to what's actually going on, and you'll find that you're more satisfied from it. If you ate the same meal every day, like, which we do, but we enjoy it. If you ate something that you didn't enjoy every day, then you're probably going to reach for the biscuits in afterwards, and then that's where the calories start adding up. But that's the ones that you don't want. Like, that's not what we want. You want to get, what am I looking for?
Satisfaction.
Yeah, satisfaction.
You want
from
to be
food.
satisfied from food. You want to be, you want to feel rewarded for what you're doing. So, and also, say you're making food for a partner or kids and stuff like that. Like, I always use this in my presentations in school, is that, like, if you've got a dog, you basically feed it the best food and you take it out for a walk and you water it. If the water gets shitty, you change it straight away, and you pretty much don't miss any of its walks, and you don't go and feed it like 2 litres of soda and a packet of crisps because you think it'll die. But for some reason, we're fucking happy
Doing that to yourself.
to do it to yourself, and like you give your kids a packet of crisps in the morning and shit like that, and it really seems like counterproductive, or productive basically, to do that. But for some reason we don't really care about ourselves, so you have to start to care about what it's doing to you and what it's doing to the people around you, and your behaviours can really make a massive impact on other people. Like, my behaviour probably impacted Helena and many people that I train. Obviously it's my job to do that, but then her behaviour might impact on her sister, which I know is 100% a fact as well, and the people around you. And then once your network becomes like that, you start to realise that actually eating well isn't quite as bad as people thought. It's not frowned upon, and it is quite a taboo thing sometimes. I don't want a takeaway. People are like, you miserable bastard, and you're like, well, you'll be a miserable bastard tomorrow morning when you wake up fucking feeling like shit, yeah. So you be a miserable bastard every Friday night, and I'll be a happy one every Saturday morning, and I'll take my version over your version any day of the week. So I feel like that's important. One thing that Helena did say is, and you can talk about this, is food that's hidden in energy that's hidden in food, such as fucking nuts.
Like, yeah, all of like the things that you'd use when you're cooking or for a snack. Like, we went to Morrison's the other day and got some nuts, and there was like 1,000 calories in a packet.
Yeah, I ate them all.
You just eat them, but you can do that because obviously like the situation that you're in. Yeah. But for someone who was unaware of food or not really like interested in exercise, that could be like one of the things that's making them miserable.
Yep.
Because they're eating or over consuming on things that they don't know
healthy.
What's in it. Yeah, like people would say, oh, swap your bag of crisps for a bag of nuts, when you're actually like doubling the amount of calories that you're having.
Tripling your bloody energy and that's it.
But not doing anything about it on the other side.
Yeah, so this comes back to knowing your energy and your food, and that's the number one principle of being a good intuitive eater, is first of all, you've got to know what you're fucking consuming. And if you don't know, you've basically got no chance. Like Helena just said, another thing is that just because I ate 1,000 calories of nuts, yeah, the next person might not be able to do it. And you know what? Unlucky. Yeah,
because it is nice.
Yeah, they were well nice, yeah. But I've been doing it for 20 years, and I'm very lucky that I arrive in a position where I'm kind of lean and I know what I'm doing, and I like to walk and exercise. Now, when I hear people say about say, oh, it's all right to have a few beers. Now, say if I'm a CrossFitter or something, and I go and do about 4,500 calories a day in energy out, doing my daily routine, doing my air bike, my rowing, my second session in the night, and my NEAT. Now, I could probably have 2,500-3,000 calories of really, really top quality food. Yeah. Now that leaves me there with 1,000 calories of anything I want, essentially, if I want to live like that, and that's fine for some people. So if you've had that 4,500 swing and you've got space for, say, you've got space there for five Stella, that's absolutely fine. Now, if I give someone that is overweight by 5 stone and they need to be on sort of between 1,500 and 1,700 calories, if I give them 5 Stella, that's taking up 80% of their nutritional intake. So if I'm doing that, where's the space for the high value nutrition food, high nutritional value food? It's absolutely nowhere. So you've really, really got to get wise with it, and you've got to make selections based on how much we get out of the food. So really, I think to sum it up, what we're saying is that we have to learn our foods, and we need to select high quality food. So food that has high nutritional value.
They're the foundation.
They're the foundation of your diet.
First thing that you should go for.
Yeah, it'd be easy to have meals made up of high calories and basically feel like you're eating absolutely sod all. But on the other flip side of it, it's we can have food, masses of food such as veg and fruit and lean protein, and we can have absolutely loads and loads of food, but we have loads and loads of food, but not take up many calories, not take many calories in at all. But if we're taking on like things like peanut butter and nuts and high fatty meats and things of that nature, hummus and stuff like that, you end up absolutely consuming loads and loads of calories but having a very, very small amount of food. So learn the foods that you can have in abundance, that don't carry much energy, that creates satiety, that creates the feeling that you've eaten a lot of food. And that's one of the most important things to do early on. So what else have we got to add? In summary, we don't really want to be weighing, but we start out by
it's a good idea.
It's a good idea to learn the calories in your food. Don't be greedy or needy. Eat when you need to, not when you want to. Or if you're going to eat when you want to, make sure you are aware of what you've eaten already in the day. And away from that, if you watch over this video once or twice, then the messages in there are very, very simple. It's all about being happy with what you're eating, happy with what you're consuming, and making sure that you get enough high nutritional value foods in there to feed the body what it needs, but creating a little bit of space to create your mindset. If you're the sort of person that needs a little bit of chocolate in there, or a gin and tonic or a glass of wine a couple of times a week, then that's you. I'm lucky that that's not really me, but if that's you, that's absolutely fine.
Yeah, it's not a quick process. Like, it does take time, but it's 100% worth it. Like, I've spent the last 18 months experimenting basically what I'm happy with, what I'm not happy with, foods that I want to eat, foods that you don't want to eat, and it's basically trial and error until you find that sweet spot that you're happy with and it balances with your lifestyle. I remember, like, Helena's been doing this for that time that she just said, and then all of a sudden people are starting to, bloody hell, she looks good, what's she been doing? Like if she'd done it overnight, and fuck all happens overnight. All the best things that happen take time, and you need to take time to invest in yourself. A few of my clients recently as well, and I've seen massive change in them, but what they haven't done is just decided not to eat. What they've done is made smarter choices in life and made more appropriate choices based on the outcome that they want. They don't want to be disappointed, so they've decided to take it on themselves to make these smarter, wiser choices. About right? Yeah.
Cheers. Hope it's useful. Bye.